All right, guys. Doing a couple hand reviews here. Want to get back into it. Still love playing heads up, and thought it'd be good practice for me to, look at some spots, review in PioSolver. One of the better ways to learn and remember is to explain it or teach it. So I like doing these videos. Thought let's give it a go. Gonna hit play here on the clip. We can take a look. So I have ace two of diamonds in a 3-bet pot. And then we'll dive into some ranges, PioSolver, sizes, all that good stuff shortly. It's not too terribly interesting. I'll try and pick some better hands down the road. I mean, you can see we flop trips. It's pretty straightforward. We're just going to call down. But it's more sort of the frequencies to call down. Do we ever raise? What does he have? This type of opponent. Like right away, we're already worried about ace king and ace queen, right? So. Queen of hearts on the turn. So we got front door clubs, back door hearts. We never have ace king or ace queen. I 4-bet a lot of... We have some ace queen, but I 4-bet a lot of ace queen suited. You'll see shortly here. Filming a video first thing in the morning. It's not even 7 a.m. yet. Had it all queued up and ready to go. It barrels the turn for like just over 1/3. Backdoor hearts get there. The wheel gets there if he is raising 2-3 suited. He could be raising ace 5, ace 4 suited. All of those make sense as 3-bets as well. So we're playing 2-4 here against Mr. Belding. Hadn't played him a whole lot. Snap call. Yeah, and we'll end it right there. So we lose the pot. He had the jack 8 of hearts, which says something about this type of player to, barrel twice on this board. You're supposed to, like quite often actually. But not everyone does. So let's take a look. I will jump into some of the preflop ranges. I haven't really ever done that. I've made lots of videos in the past. A long time ago using like Equilab and old ranges and stuff, but I thought I'd show sort of, what I look at when I'm playing heads up here. So the screen you see now, this is actually Upswing Poker. Doug Polk, Ryan Fees, I think it's Matt Coletta. All of those guys over at Upswing. Lots of good pros making courses. This is Doug's second heads-up course, the NBOSS system, as you can see the title up here. I think I paid like $1,000 plus US or whatever it was for it. I really love heads up. It's just, so fun, but unfortunately it is a dying game, a dying format, just because most poker sites, got rid of them because a better player just fleeces the bad player quicker, less rake. It's just not good business-wise for them. So a lot of the sites are Zoom pools. The site I was playing on, which you saw the video on, that's Play Now Poker. It's a Canadian, poker site. They have 3 provinces. I think a 4th just joined, but it was essentially BC, Manitoba, and Quebec. And then Saskatchewan joined, and it's run by the BC Lottery Corporation. Not many players on there, but they still have mano-a-mano heads-up tables, which is what I love. So let's dive in. So just taking a look at the ranges here. Sorry, I'll go back. So you can just see the sort of at the simplistic part how it all starts. When you're playing heads up, you are playing a boatload of hands. So IP stands for in position, OOP, out of position, or small blind, big blind. So if we're on the button, we open this range right here. So we're playing, it says 84.6%, 2.3 to 2.5 big blind. I always use 2.3. It's just a size that you can use. It makes sense to open to that size. 2x is kind of too small, 2.5x or 3x kind of big. So 2.3, which is what I did. So if we look, I'll even bring up the calculator as we go a couple times, right? So we're playing 2-4. Let's go 4 times 2.3, which is 9.2. That's kind of what I opened to there in the video. So when we open, which we had, ace-2 is suited, you can see it's 100%. I think I can zoom in for you guys here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, 100% there. Out of position. Let's see what he has. So out of position, you go versus an open at 100 big blind stack. That's exactly what we had. We both started with 400 bucks in that one. So then it shows you sort of all your adjustments. Verse 2x, 2.25x, verse 2.3x. So that's exactly what I did. So here's his defending range, right? He's going to fold all the blue stuff, raise all the orange stuff, and then call all the green. So if we look at Jack 8 suited, that's exactly what he did. He 3-bet Jack 8 suited. It does actually get 3-bet a fair bit, 45% of the time. So yeah. So I played my hand pretty much standard. He played his hand pretty much standard. And now if you're wondering, like, how do you know to 3-bet 45% of the time and only call 55% of the time? Well, we use, like, while playing, this is sort of, you know, no human's going to get it right. If you just try and guesstimate it on your own, you're going to lean towards one way or the other. So you can use a random number generator, which I will show you right here. Let me take a look here. Give me a sec. I'll pull it up. So the RNG is right here. So there's a bunch of different ones, and I'll even do side-by-side comparisons. So like this one here, this is Google, right? You can just Google random number generator, and it's fine, but it's kind of clunky. And then you would always need to have this browser tab pulled up or minimized. Some poker sites now have the RNG built in. There's software for it, but I found this little one called RNG Click. And I like it. It kind of just small, simple. You can make it any size. It overrides or goes on top of any window you want. You got different options. You can switch the colors, the order. Like I think red is the lowest number. You can make, you know, green the lowest number, however you like it. You can increase the font, decrease the font. You can have it on toggle mode or time mode. So now I'm not clicking and well, I got to start it. But once you start it, it'll just randomly go at its own time. So instead of clicking it, you just kind of look at it. So I like this one, RNG Click. It's good. There we go. And we'll go back. So that's kind of how it's done. You just use a random number generator to figure out your percentages while you're playing. Just keep it kind of minimized, click it, and that's how you do it. So he 3-bets, right? So then what we want to do is we just want to look at the other side of the coin here, which is now what do we do? So if we go back to in position, this was our open, but now you just click over to versus a 3-bet, and we're at 100 big blinds, and now his 3-bet size. So I'm going to put verse, so this is just versus a 3x 3-bet, 3.5 times the size of our, our open, 4 times the size of our open, 4.5 and 5. 5 is really large. This standard, most guys do 4x. And I'm pretty certain he was sort of in between 4x and 4.5. Like, he made it 40 bucks. So if you go 40 divided by 9.2. So he's around 4.3. 4.3x. So whatever, that's fine. We're just going to use 4x as our guide. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? We're calling ace-2 suited 100% of the time. Just so you guys can see there. And it doesn't really matter against any size. The suited wheel aces, they're all just pure calls, right? 4.5x, 5x. So against his 4x roughly, or 4.3x, this is our 4-bet range, right? We're going to 4-bet aces, kings, ace king, ace queen suited a fair bit, which is why I said in the beginning there, like, I don't have ace queen suited a whole lot in my flatting range, because you can see we call very next to never. We're almost always 4-betting it, whereas ace queen off is a pure call. So we mix in some ace jack offsuit, queen jack offsuit, very infrequent. It's a nice bluff. You know, blocking ace queen, queen queen, ace jack, jack jack. You know, if he 3-bets king queen, and we can 4-bet queen jack off, and we ever elicit a fold from king queen or king queen suited or king queen off, that's an amazing result. Good players will always call, but sometimes bad players let it go. Some of our bluffs we pull from our suited kings, right? So I use this. It's part of my course. It's kind of nice they built all of this. And then when we go to PioSolver here, I'll show you. It was nice that you can actually go here. And when you click on like the 4-bet range or the calling range, it says copied right down there. So you can literally just copy the ranges here from Upswing, put it in PioSolver, run some sims, you know, do some studying and learning with the exact ranges instead of trying to enter them all manually or figure it all out, which was super helpful. So one other thing I will show, I guess, right now is once I'm entering all of my sizes, like you saw, I opened for 2.3x, right? When I opened there, 2.3. Well, how do you know how to do all of the math? Or I have it all programmed, right? So I'll play it right now. You can kind of see it. This is my setup. So I have hotkeys. Some good software lets you program whatever you want, like PokerStars. Sure, 2.3. They'll have 5 different betting sizes. This thing, that thing, the other thing. There's program overlays. Some poker sites allow. Like it's called stars caption. You can put in like every different possible, you know, size, bet range, bet 2E, which is geometric sizing, all different kinds of things. But what I do, and what you can see in the little video there, is I have a keyboard that you can program, Corsair K95, I think Platinum keyboard, and then the Stream Deck. And the nice thing about Play now is when you hover over the little input box when you're doing your bet sizing or whatever, it allows you to copy and paste. So I can just, I'm touching the tops of the keys there. So all my F keys, F1 through F12, those are all 3-bet sizes. So on the first part versus a 2x, in the middle versus a 2.5x, or 2.25, right? And then versus it, then F9 through F12 is like versus a 3x. And then with the Stream Deck, you can see I have everything programmed, and I can actually pull it up and show you here. So this is just a close-up. So I have up to, you know, 50 cent, 25 cent, 50 cent, 50 cent a dollar, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10, and 10, 20. This is just all my stuff when I'm streaming, different graphics, and then my opens, 2.3x, as stacks get deeper, right? And then I just click on the flop here, and then I can enter, you know, 22%, 25, 50% pot, overbet 150% on the flop. So all of these would be flop. And then I put, like, if I bet the flop 30%, 2 common sizes I use, turn and, you know, on the turn 58 or overbet. If I bet 67% on the flop, turn and, you know, 58 or 150. So I kind of did it for all the most common ones that I use. It really helps, so you don't have to figure it out, because Play Now Poker sucks for bet sizing. They have like very rigid, here's your 3, right? 3 or 4. It's not many, but I like to use different sizes. So I just thought I'd show that. I do use a Stream Deck, and I also have my keyboard. So this is just a quick look at the keyboard, right? Again, same thing. I have them all programmed in. I just switch all the time. So like my open is, I think my control key is my open, right? So here's 50 an L all the way to 2000 an L. And yeah, I don't know where it is here. But if we go to key assignments, I can pick one. You just record your macro. Like I actually type it in. Took a long time to do it all, but once it's saved, I just have it always on backup. And you just assign all your keys. So anyway, that is kind of how I use all of my my sizes for quick, efficient betting. All right, we'll turn that off. There we go. Okay, let's jump in to PioSolver here. So, and we'll just go, I guess. There we go. So looking at the hand again, so top left corner, ace, ace, 4. So PioSolver, I think, came out 2015. Essentially, it's just, you know, it's artificial intelligence playing millions and millions and millions of hands against each other, knowing their hole cards to see the best possible way to play the hand to win the most money, expected value. Which is super cool. This is game theory optimal, but it doesn't take into account, like, what happened 2 hands ago. Is this player loose? Is this player tight? Like, all of that is just stuff you have to adjust as a human. This just goes, brand new hand, run millions a hand, here's the results. So you can kind of take it as a baseline, and then you deviate from there accordingly. To show you the inputs, and I'll just, here, I'm going to make myself, actually, I'll go way down here, make this wider. I'm a floating webcam. Using my Stream Deck to zoom in here for you. So you can see, like, this is the different ranges, which I'll pull up, and then just some of the inputs I put. So the board, ace, ace, 4, the exact suits. Starting pot was $80, right? He 3-bet to $40 pre-flop, and then our stacks were 400. So now we're down to 360 when we get to the flop. Bet sizes, I put in exactly kind of, you know, what he bet, right? He bet 25 out of position. He bet 25% on the flop, 37% on the turn. I gave him a couple different options for the river. And then what I would do if it was checked to me, if I want to raise, common sizes that I know I would use in 3-bet pots. So, yeah. So that's PioSolver. I'm just going to end the zoom there. And we'll go back to the ranges tab. I'll try and move out of the way again here. All right, good enough, close enough. So if we start the root, it just gives you the option. All I did was give them 25% or all in. You can see in the top right corner, jamming here makes 0 sense. It's just, you just get calls from my aces or my boats, basically, maybe some flush draws. So let's just go ahead, bet 25% pot. And then it's back to us. So this says the in position player, which is us. Here's what we do. Here's our strategy, right? So anything in the orange is going to be raise. So it says 7% of the time. Very infrequent raising. And I gave us a raise size of 30%, which is roughly 2.6x. All right? So if he bets 30% pot, we would raise, you know, or he bet 25% pot, raising 2.6x the size of his bet, essentially. So that's what this means. If I click this one here, so I like viewing it like this, but like I said, I rarely have ace queen suited. So when I click that, it's showing us that sliver of 3% we looked at before. We rarely have it. So this just shows you sort of how often you have the hands, because sometimes we're 4-betting, right? So these king X suited, that's what we were saying, we 4-bet sometimes, and sometimes we flat. So this is realistically what we get to the flop with. If we look at this chart here on the side, it's really cool. So I can click on any single one and it'll just highlight just that. So for just the trips, I can click this and it's going to say, all right, we're just looking at trips. And then if I look at the combos over here, it says we have 50.2 combos. He only has 37.2 combos, right? So ideally, or essentially, we have more aces. So we have more combinations of trips, but he has the stronger ones. He has, you know, aces and ace king. We do not. So maybe we have more trips, but we don't have the strongest trips. And I'll go back one tab real quick just to show you. So again, the same ranges we looked at in Upswing, I copy and I paste them into here. So the in position player, this is our 3-bet calling range. Again, we don't have aces or ace king, and that ace queen suited, you can see 0.03. That's the 3% of the time that we have it. So yeah, we're essentially down here, it says 32.21% we're defending. And then his 3-bet range against 2.3x. Again, one is pure 100% of the time you're 3-betting aces. 74% of the time, 58% of the time, you can kind of just see as you go through it. So yeah, we have more aces or trips, but he has the strongest ones. I'll turn that off. Just thought I'd share that. And then blues fold, so we're only calling our flush draws, obviously, right? Backdoor and front door flush draws. So he bets, and we call. Now, and what was the turn? Our turn was the Queen of Hearts. So he picks up, I guess we should look here, sorry. If we go back to his Jack 8 suited. Forgot to start with that. So Jack 8 suited, you can see his Jack 8 of Hearts is betting like 94% of the time, right? So his play was correct for this size. When you're only betting small, you get to bet more often. When you bet bigger, you bet less often. So for 25% size, you can see he's betting 73% of the time. And Jack 8 of Hearts is essentially, a pure bet there. So he bets. Our Ace 2 suited is a pure call. Ace 2 diamonds, we call. Queen of Hearts on the turn. And then he bet 37% size is what he used on the turn. I think I generally I use 33% on the flop in 3-bet pots on paired boards, or 30% pot. And then like 58, you saw on my stream at, or roughly 60% on the turn. Just sets up a better stack to pot ratio on the river. So if we look at his Jack 8 suited here, when you pick up the backdoor hearts, he 100% bets his Jack 8 of Hearts here, his backdoor flush draw. Like, it's just a pure bet for sure with that size. All right. So he bets, and Ace 2 suited. And again, I guess this isn't the most interesting hand to use, but I wanted to get started doing some studying, doing some of these videos. I like making the videos. And I have a couple more fun ones, but that we'll get into, but this is the very first one, and I'm explaining a lot more of the tools, which I won't do in the future videos. But just sort of where the cutoffs are. Yes, it's just a trips board we call down, but which aces? Which ones do we raise? Which ones don't we raise, right? So when he bets again, I gave us a 67% size raise, which is roughly 3.3x on the turn. Again, right, we don't have ace queen, so we would raise ace jack. Like ace jack we raise almost all the time. It's our strongest ace. It's just our strongest trips we have. Then ace 9 kind of becomes the second candidate. I'm still trying to figure out why ace 10 and ace 8 are kind of less. My guess is ace 10. It blocks some of his bluffs, right? If he has king 10 of clubs or king 10 of hearts, or even king 10 of diamonds turning them, it's still a bluff. He's got a gutter, but he can't have those bluffs if we've got that 10 of spades or a suited 10, right? So I think it likes it raising less, giving him a few more bluffs to barrel with. Some jack 9s. These are our bluffs around here. Suited around, like having a jack, I guess here is good. Blocking some queen jack, ace jack. And it just likes 3-4. Pair and a flush draw, or 4-5, a couple more bluffs, and then we just call down our flush draws here. All right, so we call, and then the river is a 5 of hearts. And so he mostly uses, if we look at what the solver likes to do, I gave him 2 sizes. So usually when we play, especially heads up, single size on the flop, I mean, it's just easier because the game tree gets so bigger if you use 2 different sizes on the flop. Like on this board texture, ace, ace 4, I'm always just using 30%. Right? On the turn, I'm always going to be using 58% or check. So I got 1 size on the flop for this kind of board, 1 size on the turn. But on the river, it makes more sense to have 2 sizes, right? You want to be able to get value in a smaller size, and then you want to be able to jam when you have the nuts or overbet when you have the nuts. So you can capture more EV by having 2 sizes. So on the river, it makes sense to have 2 sizes, which is what I gave him here. 67% and 150% pot. So mainly he's betting the smaller size to try and get value. But again, he's got the strongest hands, right? So he can have quads, we can't. He can have ace king, ace queen. He checks it to us, trapping us. So he has traps. So it's just nice to see how the solver balances everything, right? Everything's perfectly balanced. All your value, all your bluffs. But let's go to his specific hand. If we hover over Jack 8, all the other Jack 8 suiteds, right, they miss, right? They're bluffs, so they like the smaller size a lot. With his exact combo, like, he played it pretty well. 60% of the time, he's supposed to put, well, 150% pot is what I gave him, but essentially he's committed. He's going all in for 296 there. Yeah, so whenever the stack to pot ratio is around 2.5 or lower, then jam, right? So that's kind of what I do. 2.5x or lower, or sorry, 2.5 or lower is when I start jamming my stack in. When the stack to pot ratio is 3, essentially, like, if we have $300, the pot's $100. The SBR is, 3. We're jamming 3 times the size of the pot. 2.5 times, that's okay. But when you have an SBR of like 4 or 5, it's just hard to get the money in. Doesn't make sense to do it. So you can see here, I put in 150% pot, but he's just jamming. Yeah. So whenever your stack gets to a certain percentage in the other screen there, PioSolver just lets you jam. It knows to do it, given the SPR. So he jams. Excuse me. I clear my throat. And then this is what we're looking at. This is our range on the river when facing a jam. So we call every single flush. Actually, I'll go through them. We have no quads. So full houses. Sorry. Very dry throat this morning. It's like minus 28 out here in Winnipeg. So we call all of our full houses pure. We don't have the ace queen there really, but flushes. We call almost all of our flushes. Yeah, we call them all pure. And then straights, we don't have any. We just don't. Trips is where I wanted to look at because that's what we actually had. So again, it's just, I played it right. I just called down. I made all the correct decisions in this hand, and so did he, which is good. But it's just interesting to see, like, ace 10 suited is a pure fold here. And it's just like, why, right? So we see what the solver does, and then it's up to us to interpret why they would do that. And again, I think the interaction with the 10, like I said, blocks a lot of the 10 jack, king 10 suited combos that we want him to be bluffing with, especially because when you have the gutter, right? When you have 2 Broadway cards on the board and 2 in your hand, and you have a chance to hit that miracle 4-outer, the solver goes for it a lot. So I think that's why the ace 10 suited is a pure fold. And I believe the ace 7, ace 8, and even the ace 6 kind of have that same effect wrapped around the 4, right? So if he 3-bet, and let's say he 3-bet 5, 6 of hearts. I know the 5's on the river, but just bear with me on the flop there. 5, 6 of hearts wrapped around the 4, and he bets that really small size, right? And the turn was like, let's say, a 7 or an 8 of hearts. Well, now he's going to barrel that again. For sure, right? Because now he's got backdoor hearts and a straight draw. And then the river's kind of irrelevant. Well, not irrelevant, but I mean, it's hard for him to have, and the same concept applies. What if it was, 7, 8 of hearts or 7, 8 of clubs and the turn's a 6? He's going to barrel that for sure. Well, he can't barrel that if we're blocking it. So we, ace 6, 7 suited, we block. Having ace 7 suited blocks 7, 8 suited combos. Having ace 8 suited blocks 7, 8 suited combos. So I think that's the effect that takes place here. And then a little bit on the offsuit side. So as played though, yeah, we called right with our ace 2. Under pair king high. Do we have any king high heroes? Pure folds basically. Yeah. What about like second pair, or was it third pair? Oh, that's our under pair. Second pair. Queens. What about under pair? Where's my 4s? Doesn't have anything around the 4th pair. Low pair. 2s and 3s. Oh, here. Our 4s. So we fold most of our 4s, but call 3s. Interesting the way it does that. Anyway, so that's PioSolver. Kind of just wanted to go through it. I've got some more interesting ones, like I said, coming up with bluffs, but it was just, sometimes you don't know, and the big one for me here was just looking at the trips. Like, this is great in solver land, but in game, and it's nice that he had the Jack 8 of hearts like suited there, because he actually is capable of pulling that off. Whereas most guys are just ace king. They have ace king, ace queen, ace jack suited, and I'm just up against a dominated ace. And it's like, should I fold this? Solver says, no, never fold. Be balanced, play perfectly. Sometimes you run into it, sometimes you don't. Like, what if that 5 of hearts ends up being a 5 of spades or 5 of clubs? Does he still jam the Jack 8 and bluff? He should be doing it, I think, right? Or betting the smaller size, still bluffing. So that's why I don't think, like, I can't just go, oh, he's got ace king, I'm just gonna call and hemorrhage, lose money here, right, with my weaker ace. Like, if you can soul read like that, great. If there's a guy that you just know so confidently that that's what he's doing, but if he ever has something else, you're just losing boatloads of money, right? So, but of course, that's what I'm thinking. Like, does he have ace king? Does he have ace king? Does he have ace queen? It's hard to have ace king and ace queen when I have an ace, so it's just a pure call down. I'll show a few more features here of PioSolver. We'll just go back to the beginning here. So, like, let's say we go bet, call, any random turn. You can do analysis. So this would be for the position 3-bet, the guy 3-betting. So this is called a heat map. Kind of neat. You just, it tells you which card's the best card for you on the turn, essentially, right? Gives you your average over here in the top left, and then, so like here, we gave him 2 sizes, right? His actual size, 37%, are all in. It never goes all in on the turn. But the 2 cards he bets the most on are the ones that are the wider brown here. So obviously, like an 8, he bets a lot on, and an ace. 8 or an ace he bets the most, and a 7 a bit here too. And the card he bets the least on is like a deuce, I guess, over here. So kind of neat. You can use the heat map. Oh, here, I'll go back to that for a second. You can go both in position or out of position. You can do EV, right? Expected value of certain cards. Equity, right? The equity of which card comes. So you can do quite a bit of stuff here, which is cool. PioSolver lets you node lock. You can adjust ranges. Right, this is the ranges that we put in. They're kind of, roughly right, but if you know he never does these 2 things, you can edit a few hands, lock that in, and rerun it so that it's a more accurate representation of who you're playing and the strategy you should use. You can do strategy plus EV on the grid. You can do strategy plus react, right? So this is like bet, call, raise all in one box. I find that too cluttered. You can do your ranges here again. When you get to this spot, you can do your equities all in here. EV, same thing. I usually just keep it on the strategy one. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's PioSolver. Came out 2015. I've got the Edge version 3.3. Again, paid like $1,000 or more for this over the years. I use it quite frequently. I do enjoy it that much. When it first came out, it was just for heads-up play. Mono a mono, but solvers have come a long way. Pretty sure they can do multi-way sims now for 6 max and what have you. All right, that was it for now. Hope you liked it. It's kind of going to be my format going forward. Just sort of quick look at the ranges, maybe using Upswing there. Dive in with PioSolver. I'll give it the best ranges I can to make it realistic of what I think's going on. Put in the exact sizes used, and then we'll just take a look to review. But yeah, hopefully you like this one. I'll do more and be less chatty in the next one, now that I've explained what a random number generator is, stream deck sizes, all that good stuff. But yeah. All right, guys, on to the next one. Thanks for watching.